After vanishing at the end of a storm of swords, Varys reappears in the epilogue of A Dance with Dragons to assassinate Sir Kevan Lannister. Why? What does Varys expect to gain from the murder? Hi everyone, this is Robert. Welcome to In Deep Geek. On this channel we cover A Song of Ice and Fire in nerdy depth, as well as other great fantasy worlds like The Lord of the Rings and The Witcher. Welcome. This is another collaboration with the wonderful History of Westeros. Please do check out their excellent YouTube channel and podcast. There's a link in the description. In the epilogue to A Dance with Dragons, Kevan Lannister is having dinner with Cersei and Tommen when a message arrives from the Grand Maester. Kevan excuses himself and is escorted into Pycelle's chamber by a silent child, who we can only assume is one of Varys' little birds. Moments after he enters the room, Varys shoots him with a crossbow. The similarity to his brother Tywin's murder comes to mind immediately for him, and he blurts out the name Tyrion. But instead, Varys emerges from the shadows clutching the murder weapon, and in true Varys style, he apologises, telling Kevan it's not personal. He says, "Sir Kevan, forgive me if you can. I bear you no ill will. This was not done from malice. It was for the realm, for the children. This pains me, my lord. You do not deserve to die alone on such a cold, dark night. There are many like you, good men in service to bad causes, but you are threatening to undo all the Queen's good work, to reconcile Highgarden and Casterly Rock, bind the faith to your little king, unite the Seven Kingdoms under Tommen's rule, so Varys kills him." Most of Kevan's epilogue chapter earlier is spent at council. A number of issues are discussed by hand of the king Mace Tyrell, Master of Laws Randyll Tarly, Grand Maester Pycelle, and Kevan Lannister himself serving as regent. The most prominent topic is the invasion of the Stormlands by a young man claiming to be Aegon, son of Rhaegar Targaryen, at the head of the famously dangerous Golden Company, alongside Jon Connington. Though they don't agree on much, the small council does agree that this threat requires an immediate military response, lest the danger grow. Aegon could win castles, allies, reputation, time to spread word of his arrival and his identity, best to stop him as soon as possible. Mace decrees that he will march south with his army as soon as his daughter Margaery's trial is complete. Waiting for the trial to be over isn't exactly immediate, however, not to mention the possibility that Margaery could lose. Would Mace still march his army south in that case? Probably not. Thus, the threat of violence hangs over the scene, and the capital, even without considering Aegon in the south. Some members of the small council are concerned that they themselves might be targets. For example, Pycelle expresses concern to Kevan that Mace Tyrell mislikes him, so he needs guards. Kevan is diplomatic, but inwardly scoffs at the notion that Mace would have Pycelle killed. While many on the council are more concerned with their own lives or families, Kevan is more concerned about other matters, namely the aforementioned invasion by Aegon. Of course, Kevan will find Pycelle dead only a few pages later. It turns out they both had a piece of the truth, but neither of them had the whole. Simply put, Pycelle was not terribly worried about the danger in the Stormlands, but very concerned about the danger in-house. Kevan was more concerned about the danger in the Stormlands while not terribly worried about the danger in-house. It turns out that the danger in the Stormlands and the danger in-house are one and the same. Varys is back after nearly 2 full books missing, and he's with Aegon. He's also no longer the Varys of the past 20 years. He's no longer pretending to be squeamish or neutral, no longer trying to keep the realm at peace while his plans and his young king mature. The time is nigh. Instead of order, Varys wants chaos, so Aegon can save the realm to win the throne, as Stannis himself put it. Stannis was of course referring to himself saving the realm to win the throne at the time, but it's just as true for any other claimant. The realm wants peace and stability most of all, and will favour a king who brings them that. That is the core reason for the murder of Kevan, creating chaos to help Aegon win the throne. But let's get more specific. Varys tells Kevan, as he's dying, who will take the blame for his murder. We read, "Your niece will think the Tyrells had you murdered, mayhaps with the connivance of the imp. The Tyrells will suspect her. Someone somewhere will find a way to blame the Dornishman. Doubt, division, and mistrust will eat the very ground beneath your boy king, while Aegon raises his banner above Storm's End and the lords of the realm gather round him. This is the heart of the matter, driving a wedge between Lannister and Tyrell, the houses who are the biggest obstacles to Aegon's claim. For Varys' young king to win the throne, it's better if the Lannisters and Tyrells are not on good terms. Better still if they turn on one another and become enemies. Even better than that if the Tyrells are an enemy of the Lannisters and an ally of Aegon. Perhaps Margaery could marry Aegon instead of Tommen. It's not clear what exactly Varys has in mind for the Tyrells. It might be that he's offered a different house in the Reach, the seat of Highgarden, in exchange for their support. We can only be certain that Varys wants to break the Lannister-Tyrell alliance. Like Tywin before him, Kevan was doing a good job at uniting Lannister and Tyrell, at forging them into a unit that might hold the throne, so he had to die. And by killing him with a crossbow, Varys is attempting to accomplish the opposite, to pit the two allied great houses against each other. Kevan was also keeping Cersei in check, and was preparing to send her back to Casterly Rock. Kevan's death put Cersei back in charge as regent for Tommen. It's another important part of the plan. This effectively replaces someone competent with someone who will play right into Varys' hands. It is no secret that Cersei hates the Tyrells. Her lies are the entire reason Margaery is on trial in the first place, and we can be sure she will continue to find ways to manipulate those proceedings. Varys knows this, and knows that Margaery's fate is tied to Mace's army. As we and Mace himself established, as long as Margaery is in danger, the Tyrell army will not march south to face Aegon. Not to mention, Cersei being in charge in general is good for Aegon's chances. Many prospective allies might think twice about joining her. In fact, her leadership may give some noble houses good cause to choose Aegon, including many who would have unquestioningly followed Tywin. Mace Tyrell is not an example of exemplary leadership either. Not to mention there's a very good chance some members of the Small Council, and other houses in general, are likely already in league with Varys and Aegon, but simply haven't made their move yet. Many noble houses will use that all-too-common strategy of waiting, delay and prevaricate and dissemble until one side appears to have the upper hand, and then join that side. Varys is nothing if not convincing, meaning many may join Aegon because Varys will seduce them with his silver tongue. Of course Aegon is winning, he'll say. He might even be telling the truth. We should mention Pycelle here as well. Kevan was technically the second murder that day. Varys killed Pycelle first and used him as bait, but it wasn't just bait or revenge for all the insults Pycelle heaped on Varys over the span of 2 decades on the Small Council. Though Varys might have enjoyed murdering Pycelle given all that, it actually fits his plan perfectly when we scrutinise it. With Kevan, Varys used the crossbow so people would think of Tyrion. With Pycelle, there was no need to be particular with the murder weapon, so he simply smashed his head in from behind. We can be fairly sure it was him and not one of the little birds, since they are children and not likely to be capable of crushing his skull, plus they're likely too short. Varys spent 20 years pretending to be soft, effeminate, afraid of blood, barely capable of witnessing violence, let alone personally dispensing it. Now he is killing people with his own hands, but still keeping it a secret. For the moment, only us readers know. Now we see how this long-cultivated image fits into his overall plan. Many will overlook him as a culprit until it's too late. They will be too busy fighting each other, which is exactly what he wants. The death of Pycelle adds to the suspicion that Tyrion is responsible. It was Pycelle who accused Tyrion during his trial of stealing poisons from him. More importantly, the trial was seen by many and widely discussed afterwards. Tyrion and Pycelle's animosity towards one another was on display for all to see. The motive is plain for all to see. Even though Tyrion is innocent of Joffrey's death, though technically Tyrion did steal those poisons from Pycelle. Pycelle was right about that. Pycelle has long been an open Lannister toady as well. When sides are taken, he always takes Tywin's or Cersei's. Since Varys wants Aegon to take the throne, this removes an enemy from the Small Council. Pycelle would clearly support Tommen over Aegon. And there's also the matter of his replacement. When Tyrion stripped Pycelle of his office earlier in the story, the Citadel were apparently on the verge of sending a Maester Gorman to be the new Grand Maester. It's an open secret that Maester Gorman was born Gorman Tyrell, Mace Tyrell's uncle, no less, another Tyrell on the small council. It's easy to see that Cersei might immediately conclude that the Tyrells were behind Pycelle's murder. So the murders of Kevan and Pycelle are intended to sow chaos and discord in the Red Keep that Aegon can exploit in his invasion. They were done in a way to divert attention away from Varys and onto Tyrion and the Tyrells, and maybe even the Martells. Cersei will very obviously react strongly. Removing the competent Kevan and replacing him with the less competent Cersei will, I'm sure, have explosive consequences. And maybe those murders are just the beginning. Now that Varys' 20-year plan is culminating, now that Aegon has landed to push his claim for the Iron Throne, Varys can operate more aggressively and openly. How else do you think he might weaken King's Landing's defences? Will there be more murders? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Even more importantly, will it work? Will all of Varys and Illyrio's planning finally lead to Aegon, young Griff, ascending the Iron Throne? We'll look at that in a future video. If you'd like to see more videos like this, diving deep into the lore of A Song of Ice and Fire, there's a link to my playlist on the left of your screen now. Or to support this channel, thank you. There's a link to my Patreon page on the right of your screen. That's all for this time. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon.